Greetings, metal community, and welcome to my Sunlight Studio special episode, whatever. Of course, we're gonna play this in the background. The best recordings ever to be had in Sunlight Studio. Yeah, Mark G with a C did a video about this some time back, probably a month or even longer. So I was always going to answer that. This is my favorite Sunlight Studio recording. As you probably would guess, I'm playing in the CD. Kind of, this is a double with the grotesque demos at it. So yeah, I do have a top 10, and I have some, honorable mentions. I was excluding all the demos. There was a lot of cool demos that I could have talked about as well, but I didn't want to make a too long video, so I'm just gonna jump right into my top 10 list, which is quite different from young Mark's list. But yeah, kind of had to have this. It was in and out of the list. I'm gonna talk more about it when I get to the honorable mentions. But Amorphis with Karelian Ismuts. Yeah, just a cracking album. Finnish death metal with deep, dark growls and a lot of cool kind of leads, I would call them. I hate to put the word melodic in it to this type of death metal, but the leads here are great, cool lyrics as well. This is, of course, the original CD from back in the days. Yeah, that's old Nuclear Blast thing going on. Played this a lot back in the days, and an album that I return to now and then because I think it's a cracking album. So therefore it ended up at my 10th spot, and nice to have something else than Swedish music on here, because most of it is. On the 9th place, not an album I see a lot of people talk about, which is a shame. It's Excruciate with Passage of Life. Kind of a hidden gem. I didn't know about this band back in the days. This was a later discovery for me, but every time I put on this album, this is a reissue through probably some Necro label. Picked it up 10-15 years ago or something like that. But yeah, really good album, and every time I put it on, it's strikes me out, why this hasn't been talked more about. Maybe it wasn't printed in, a large number, and therefore kind of didn't get the same, distribution as some of the else, or some of the other Sunlight Studio recordings. And, of course, with the labels and all that stuff, it wasn't everybody who got into a big label. This one I see a lot of people talk about, and yes, this is an original that I picked up back in the days, and that's Cemetery, An Evil Shade of Grey, out on the Black Mark. Yeah, this album is kind of a little bit weird with this kind of, you hear the pick kind of naring along with the strings there and make this sound a little bit different in terms of production, and we can talk a lot about the production quality of like Sunlight and Thomas, but they all have a bit scruffy production, and it kind of fits the music very well. Could have been higher, yeah, but I think the rest of the stuff that I'm going to show is better in my opinion, but still a pretty well-known classic. Weird, a little bit weird, like cover artwork as well, but it is kind of quite iconic. But yeah, I bought it when it came out, and it was not as good as some of the else I'm gonna talk about, but yeah, really, really good album, and therefore it's in my list. And band that I really love, and this is a later, kind of late 90s release, but this is Nominon with Diabolical, Bloodshed. One of Sweden's finest death metal bands. I don't see a lot of people talk about this band, which is quite rare or weird. Of course, Steve over at S&T Young blasted it blasted the Nominon in his video not long ago. So, but yeah, just a killer, more aggressive, evil death metal. Not blackened death metal at all, but it has more, just more aggression. And this album is full of energy. And yeah, if you haven't checked out Nominon, go and do so, because they deserve more attention. Another album that I didn't pick up this album until yeah, my throat was a little bit dry. I'm not changing my voice, like I'm not a teenager, so. But I heard a couple of songs on some compilations back when it came out, and just loved the songs. But I did get a Metal Mind CD back in 2000, and that's Afflicted with the Prodigal Son. You know, great band photo. This is the Century Media reissue that came 3 years ago. Just fucking love this album. It's weird and it's more progressive than the other, but it's kind of still have the same Swedish Stockholm sound, but they just write different songs and experiment, more experimental, and do something different. And that was weird back in '92 when this originally came out. So kind of a more of a groundbreaking band in terms of putting different elements into it. The whole album is fucking killer. So but I would say maybe Doomwatcher's Prediction and Ivory Towers, they are at least some of the favorites. But yeah, fucking killer record. Again, I think a lot of people know this, but I don't know how many of you have, you know, bought it or have it in your collection, but it should have been. Now we're getting into the top 5, and the top 5 is kind of, you can stir them around any day, because it's just top quality, all of them. On 5th place I have a Grave with Into the Grave. Again, you know, on Century Media, this was 91. One of the early bands, you know, one of the forefathers that weren't actually kind of in the Stockholm scene. They came from Gotland, which is kind of an island outside. So they have never been kind of that HM2 band as a lot of the other ones was, but Grave has always been one of my favorite Swedish death metal bands. Killer album. You could have picked the second one as well, but I think this is just a fucking excellent debut album, and yeah, pretty weird, like with the font and the stuff up here, but yeah, it's just a masterpiece in my opinion. These are all masterpieces. 4th place could have been number 2, but Dismember, Like an Ever Flowing Stream. This is the original vinyl. Again, you have this old Nuclear Blasts logo, but yeah, fucking excellent album. Once again, I don't need to talk much about it, but it's been played a lot. I do have a newer reissue of it, because, you know, this album is, yeah, starting to show the usage, the mileage of it, and yeah, fantastic artwork as well. And you know, the bloody image is back, legendary. Next one is probably, some people say that, you know, this needs to be number 1. It doesn't matter. It is a fantastic album. Entombed Left Hand Path, out on Eric Records. Again, this is the original vinyl. Came out 91, I would guess. I don't remember. It's been some years, and not a lot going on in the inner. But yeah, just another, everybody knows this. Most people love it, and so they should. Kind of setting a trend with these releases. They were influential all over the world. and fantastic artwork as well. Killer album. The next one is, of course, I'm a little bit biased to my second place, but of course, Soulside Journey had to be in there. As a Norwegian, we didn't have a massive death metal scene back in the days, and when this came out in 1990, it was fucking, unbelievable for us to hear. I don't remember if this came out 91 but it's printed 1990 on the CD, so I'm guessing that's when it was printed at least. It just blew our minds when this came out. It was so damn good. Killer album. A lot of tempo changes, kind of a little bit like early At the Gates, with a lot of shifts in the music. 10 out of 10 album for me, and I can play this any day, every day, if I want to. It's just like an undying classic. My number one would probably be my number one regardless, because this album, I don't know how many times I've played it, but Necrophobic, The Nocturnal Silence, massive album for me when back in, was this 92 as well? 93, fucking killer. This again is an original Black Mark release. I do have reissues of this on vinyl, but yeah, I thought it would be cool to show the originals when you have them. Just kind of a little, very different from everything. Really back in the days, almost a little bit like melodic black metal feel to some of the songs, but it is death metal. Love the vocals here. Kind of just perfect to the music. Again, I don't have no idea how many thousand spins this CD has, but one of my most played albums since 1993, and still playing this often. Again, it's an album that you can play over and over again. So then we're going in a little bit to the honorable mentions. I have a couple of EPs that I'm going to show together with At the Gates. And talking about At the Gates, Sunlight Studio with Fear Kiss the Burning Darkness. I think this is an excellent album, but the production on it, it's kind of what I talked about a little bit earlier on how good producer Thomas really was, because this album is not produced very well, but man, the songs on this album is just outstanding. And it would have been on the list if it was better produced, because I do struggle kind of listening to it, because it's annoying me a little bit that I didn't do a better job. One that was in and out of the list is Desultory. This is again, Swedish, a little bit lighter, not so brutal, out on licensed from Music for Nations, but Metal Blade, original CD, again, fold out cover. Desultory has both the first two albums are damn good, and you just avoid the Snake album, but the return albums they did, as always, are also really good. So if you haven't listened to Desultory, you should. This is Into Eternity. I could have picked the second album as well, but it's kind of this is a little bit better. And Thomas Skogberg and Desultory produced it, and this sounds pretty damn good. Awesome album once again. One that I had forgotten about is this album called from a band called Bloodstone. Just not like a very selling cover. This is Hour of the Gates, and this is more kind of a blackened death metal. I would say it's not too far from Necrophobic, and but maybe unanimated as well would be more in the vein. But they have some really heavy guitars on here, compared to them. I love this image here, and this is a killer release. I play this a lot when I kind of dove back into it. This is a Dark Symphony reissue, of course. Never knew about this band back in the days, so. But when Dark Symphonies or The Crypt are releasing new stuff, you will always check them out. So that's why I picked this up. But damn good. There's some, as I said, there's some really heavy songs in here as well. It's not just like that's closer to, you know, almost a little bit melodic black death in some parts, but really, really good album. I think I played it 4 or 5 times now when I revisited it because I just forgot how good it was. Another legendary Therion of Darkness. Great album, but it's not near for me top 10. I kind of like the second album a little bit better because it's more unique sounding, but yeah, still a kind of up there when it comes to Swedish death metal anyways. Carnage, and you know, why is this not on your list? This is the split between Out on Necrosis Records, split with Cadavers, Hallucinating Anxiety, mainly because 4 of these songs are old Dismember demos, so I kind of feel that this is more of a, yeah, almost a project and not a full-worthy release, because the songs weren't written for Carnage. 4 of the songs were written for Dismember, so it's kind of a weird. I do think it's a great album, but for me it's not. I mean, I would prefer Dismember to record these albums, or these 4 songs that are on here, but still a killer release and pretty legendary as well. Everybody knows this, and again, you know, the guy that's on the Entombed cover is also here, and that's, you know, Mr. Dodevik on bass, but he doesn't play bass on this album, so he didn't sing on Clandestine, and he didn't play bass on this, according to the liner notes. But yeah, just a little fun fact there. One I saw, Mark did have this on this list, and this is God Macabre, The Winter Long. Again, it's kind of a mini album. It's 28 minutes long. It's kind of borderlining. It's a killer release. Don't get me wrong, it could have been there, but I just feel that this is. It's kind of same with, you know, the Autumno EP or mini album. They are both like 28 minutes long, but this is the kind of double vinyl. So I kind of feel that they didn't deserve a spot compared to the other, you know, full lengths. But yeah, excellent compilation if you want to have that and can find it. But yeah, this God Macabre quality stuff, and you know, I think it's a shame that they didn't just re-record some of the demos. I mean, this release has more songs, but that's kind of demos, and you know, just maybe they didn't have time to record or re-record some of the demos and just make a complete full album. I think 28 minutes is kind of like a dumb size or length of an album, but yeah, excellent release. This is a reissue from Relapse that I picked up. Again, I don't remember this band back in the days. I might have heard them, but I don't think so. Another album that I think is killer is Sorcery with this is Legacy of Blood, but it's Bloodchilling Tales is his original, but when Extreme Music reissued this, there was some. This is the original artwork and title of it, but there was some kind of dumb. I mean, you can't have it as a front cover, but you can print it as an inner cover. It's yeah, some legal shit there going on, but great band overall. They returned some years back and have released, I think, 3 albums that are pretty damn good as well. So. But this is a quality. Bloodchilling Tales is a great album. It's not like it's. I think it dips a little bit in the end, but great album. And if you haven't heard this, and kind of, this might disturb you if you're looking for it, but I think they have reissued it with a proper cover later on. So I don't know what happened there. Another quality band that was recorded in Sunlight was Merciless, A Treasure Within. More of a death thrash, really, but still a great album. Not their best by any means. This is the came out in 2003, I think. Black Lodge. So yeah, great band overall. You know, good discography, and one of the I think this is the latest kind of recordings that I have in this video, coming out of Sunlight Studio. This is also a well-known one, Epitaph with Seeming Salvation. I don't think this album is as good as the rest of this bunch. It is a little bit weak in the sound, I think, but some really good tracks here as well. But overall, I think this is kind of an album that it's more talked about than Excruciate, but I think Excruciate is much better, or at least a step up in terms of quality. But yeah, another well-known sort of underground. Yeah, I brought this as well. Uncanny, kind of the same vein as Epitaph in terms of, I think half of this album is really good, but it doesn't kind of hold up throughout the whole 13 songs that are here. But Uncanny was one of these bands that, you know, almost made it, I feel, but they kind of missing something. This is splitting in from Nictobia. This is a Dark Descent, you know, with all the demos and stuff on it as well. But yeah, a solid album. I will also show this. Sentinex is kind of a band, you know, before they started with a fucking drum machine. This is not the original cover, because this is the original cover, and damn, that is not a good cover. It's not a selling cover. This would have, yeah, this is just kills the original cover. But a great album, and Sentinex do have some great albums, but you know, the drum machine period is something that I can't listen to, because I mean, I don't like drum machine in general, but you can do a better job with it than they did on this. But as I said, this is proper drummer on, so yeah, that was it for this video. I was, as I said, you know, contemplating on putting on a stack of demo releases as well, but I thought, you know, that would just make this video way too long. So yeah, let me know in the comments. I've seen, you know, of course, Mock's video and some of the comments there, so individual taste and all that stuff. I'm sure somebody will, you know, correct me if I'm like not doing a well enough job in kind of putting the best albums on the list. But yeah, I have, like I said, God Macabre and stuff like that. Could have been there. It's just that I don't look at. I never looked at it as a full-length album. I don't remember when I bought it, but it's probably like 15, 20 years ago. And yeah, it's kind of, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to set the limits for the bar, but I think a 40-minute album will knock out a 28 minutes release any day when it comes to a list, for me at least. So, but you know, it's nothing wrong in having it. It's a mini album, could have put it there. I was also thinking about doing top 15, because I think 5 of these releases really deserves to be on a full list. But yeah, whatever. We'll try to film a death metal updates for you guys as well when I'm at it. Do have some reissues and stuff to show. It won't be a long video, but I'm just flipping through some. A couple of new ones, but mostly old reissues, I think. I hope to put that out sometime next week. But yeah, thanks as always for watching, and it will be sporadic videos from me coming, but I will try to do a kind of a mid-year list, like top 10 or top 15 mid-years, because I just think that is fun to look back at when I do the you know, end of year lists. So yeah, until next time, be sure.